Hi everyone, I'm Rachel. In this tutorial, I'll teach you how to create hyper-realistic crystal using the Color Therapy app. In this lesson, let's color an object in an unconventional way and turn it into crystal. It's best to choose a neutral background such as white, black, gray, or beige for best results. So in order to replicate something really well, it's best to choose a reference. So here I brought up an example from Google. I just found a crystal bird. So you can see all the different facets in here of the crystal and how it's cut. There's a lot of straight lines and a lot of triangles. So we're gonna aim for something like that. Let's start off with a gray background. So I'm gonna choose a light gray under the basic palette, and I'm just gonna tap to fill in everything, including the bird. Now we're gonna manually draw in the different cuts of the crystal. So let's go under the pen tool, set the size to 1 and opacity at 100. Let's set coloring inside the lines mode 2 off, and then with a basic white, zoom in to the body of the bird. And now you're just gonna go ahead and make crisscross and zigzag shapes across the body and through the head and everything. So I'm gonna just cross over those now with some straight lines. And you can also start from one area and just make a V shape or a triangle shape from there. You just wanna break up a lot of those lines. So keep in mind the smaller shapes that you create, it's gonna take you a little more time to color those in. But it does make it look more realistic. Now, if you look up really close at some crystal, you'll see that there's some blue in it in different colors here and there. So I'm gonna use the Hopeless Romantic palette and make sure it sets to solid and choose these 3 different blues. So it's sort of a really light, almost periwinkle blue, a grayish, and then sort of a slate gray. And I'm also gonna use some colors from the Shades of Gray palette. So I wanna choose some grays that are either lighter or darker than the background. Now let's raise the size to 4, zoom in, and you're gonna start to color in the different shapes that you just drew. So use your finger and just color it right in. You wanna go over those white lines as you go. You wanna cover those up with your shape. You can also lower the size to 1% to really get crisp lines. So there's no rules when it comes to coloring in the shapes. You can use whatever colors you want, just try to spread them out. You can also leave some of the shapes just the regular gray background that they already are. And you want to fill in the body of the whole bird that way. Now let's add in some highlights. So select the AIRBRUSH tool, set the size to 32 and opacity at 45. Now set coloring inside the lines mode 2 on. And we're going to just highlight the inside of the bird. I'm kind of just going around the edges of it, and it's gonna catch some of the cool little angles that are drawn in the bird already. So those highlights just give it some depth. Now for the wings, go ahead and just start to add in some more of that AIRBRUSH white into the wings, mostly focusing on the middle. So I'm just blending in the dark slate gray and white into those areas of the wings. I might do a little bit of gray at the tips as well. And you do the same thing with the tail too. Work back and forth and blend in those colors. And I'm gonna use a medium blue from the basic palette and just add it into the wings, just in a few little areas here and there. And you can add it into the bird too. Now go back to the pen tool and set the size to 1 and opacity at 100 and just draw some streaks going across that darker area of the wings, just following the direction of those lines. And then finally, you're gonna use the smear tool and just blend it. So I'm doing 100% intensity and about size 15, and I'm just going to smear and blend in those lines. And those are the basic steps in creating a luminous crystal object. Don't forget to remove the lines for best results. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Color Therapy YouTube channel so you don't miss any new tutorial videos. Thanks for watching our tutorial. You can get the Color Therapy app for free on the App Store.